You know, the greatest moment of freedom was when I realized that my entire life I've been acting, thinking, feeling, believing on behalf of this separate self that I've imagined myself to be. I've imagined myself to be Anila, and with that comes so many stories, right? And it all the stories have to do with my or me. But my experience of me or my that I've taken myself to be has always been distorted. It was never based on the truth. And what I mean by that is I didn't recognize that I'm the one that's aware of my experience. And so when situations arise with friends, with any form of relationship, romantic, platonic, colleagues, family, it would always sort of start with, my friend said this and so I was upset. My XYZ person did this or didn't do this and so I was upset. My career came up with XYZ things and so I was not satisfied. I need more. I'm not saying desires are wrong at all. No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, because I've taken myself to be this body, mind called Anila, I've now become invested in all these stories related to me and my and mine. If I just removed the words my everywhere and why everywhere, there would be nothing for me to take personally. Only because I have believed myself to be a limited, separate self with all the stories attached to it. I've successfully, I'm sure maybe you have as well, successfully felt like I have so many kinds of problems to overcome, so many kinds of hurdles I need to cross or I need to transform, some obstacle or the other that I need to change. But I didn't realize that the problem was not me, it was me believing in a story of me. The problem was not in who I really am. The problem was I didn't recognize. I kept overlooking who I am and invested my time, my attention, my energy into believing, into keeping safe, into bettering, into evolving this imagined entity called Anila. So I was trying to make all of these changes to my life without realizing the real me. Isn't that quite funny? I think it's funny. Not knowing who I truly am and then trying to change myself in the hopes of finding some form of fulfillment. And so I decided to ask myself, who am I without all the stories? Doesn't matter if it's positive, negative, good, bad, neutral. Who am I without all the stories? And then I realized, I just am. I simply am. I'm the one who's aware of whatever is happening. I'm the one who's aware of seeing. I'm the one who's aware of touching. I'm the one who's aware of thinking. I'm the one who's aware. I'm awareness. And the word awareness doesn't have to mean anything. It's what it's pointing you to. And this was the moment where so many of my problems just fell apart. They just fell they fell aside. They weren't as relevant anymore. And this isn't to say that I'm perfect or I'm all the time in awareness or anything like that. Not at all. I get caught up in playing this imagined role called Anila sometimes, and it is very convincing. My thoughts really convince me that I am Anila, that I am this separate self that feels upset, that is hurt, that feels ignored, that feels sad, that feels taken advantage of. But every time I explore, every time I come back to myself, which is the real me, knowing that I'm the one aware of everything, knowing that I am the basis, like awareness is the basis, the foundation for all experiences to rise and fall. That's the moment I'm free again. And I'm back to feeling empowered, back to feeling like, oh, there are actually no obstacles. There was never any obstacle in the first place. So I invite you to try and play with the question of, who am I beyond the story? Who am I beyond the story of me, mine, and my XYZ? Who am I beyond any stories? Who am I without the stories? In this moment, what is the experience of me without all the stories? And I'd like to know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And for more inquiry questions, stay tuned, because in the next video I'll be sharing a whole lot more reflective questions and allowing you to rest in your true nature so you can manifest the dreams that you deeply desire.